Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon as we are studying together Pirkei Avot. We are here on chapter 5, and we're doing a new Mishnah today, Mishnah Tet Zayin. So if you have your hard copies, this would be a great time to open them up. If not, you can follow us along on our shared screen. Here we go. Chapter 5, Perek Hey. Again, if it's a hard copy, it's going to be Mishnah 15, 16 today, Mishnah 16. Okay, Mishnah Tet Zayin. Again, we are up to the number 4. A very, very powerful chapter so far. Every number just gets better and better and better. Here we go. It's going to be 13 on the shared screen, and let's begin that right now. Okay. Here we go. Share the screen. Could I get a thumbs up? Could we see it? Beautiful. Arba midot benotnei tzedakah. Here we go. A new number 4. If you remember, yesterday we saw there are 4 types of students. The day before we saw there are 4 types of anger. The day before we saw there are 4 types of personalities. Today there are 4 types of donors. Okay, are you a donor? Raise your hand if you're a donor. Do we give tzedakah? All of us? God bless. Amen. Baruch Hashem. Okay. Well, there are 4 types of notnei tzedakah. 4 types of people that give charity. And here they are. Again, ask yourself, which one are you? Number 1, harotze sheyiten velo yitnu aherim. Somebody who wants to give, but doesn't want other people to give. Okay? That's the first one. They like to give, but they don't want other people to give. Number 2, let's just quickly go through them, and then we will elaborate on each one. Such a person has a stingy eye against other people. The next person, yitenu aherim v'ulo yiten. Others give, but I don't want to give. This person is stingy on himself. Number 3, yiten ve'yitnu aherim. I want to give and I want other people to give. That's a tzaddik. And a chassid, even better than a tzaddik. And number 4, lo yiten ve'lo yitnu acherim. Some people are just made up of that material. They don't want to give themselves and they don't want other people to give. Okay? So again, we have the 2 extremes and we have the 2 middles. The 2 extremes, I don't want anyone to give and I myself don't give. Very bad. And then the other extreme, I give and I want everyone to give. That's very good. And then you have the 2 middles. He gives but no one else should give, or everyone should give but not me. Okay? And those are in the middle. Now, just before we ask a very obvious question on this Mishnah, and if you want to write the obvious question, you feel free to do that right now. But in the meantime, let's just go through each one and elaborate on all of them. Okay? So here we go. The first idea over here. Rotze sheyiten velo itnu aherim. They want to give, but they don't want other people to give. So here's what we call a monopoly on giving. You ever met such people? They want to be the only ones that can help. They want to be the only ones that can solve problems. They want to be the only ones that can give tzedakah. They want to be the only ones that can give advice or to give guidance. Okay? These are people that want all the honor and all of the kavod for themselves. They don't want other people to receive the kavod. They don't want other people to receive the blessings that are entailed and that are given to one who gives. They don't want others to get that reward. I want it for myself. Nobody else should get the sachar. Okay? Obviously, such a person is they are very stingy on other people. Such a person is very arrogant. Such a person has a very inflated ego that they feel like it has to be me to help. And it's true not only with giving tzedakah, it can be true as a rabbi. Okay? If I'm giving shiurim and I feel like I want to be the one that's going to inspire the people, why does it have to be me? If there are other rabbis that can do it, bechavod. Let them get the credit. Let them get the honor. Let them do it. If they could do a job, let them do it. But so long that we want to have a monopoly on all of the power, Whether it's the giving of tzedakah, and again, you have a lot of people that they want to give and they don't want anyone else to give. They want to be known as the biggest giver in the community, and this is not. They don't have the community's best interest in mind. Such people. If it was really about the community, they would have no problem for other people to get involved and to give. Such a person is completely absorbed with their own. It's not about helping others, it's about helping themselves and what makes me look good. And so long that I'm the one that's giving, I'm happy. And if I'm not the one that's giving, then no one else should give. Right? There's a beautiful story about Rabbi Landau, the author of the Nodab Yehuda. He was once approached by somebody to help pay for the what we call Pidyon Shevuyim. It was very common back then that they would kidnap Jews and they would request a large amount of money in order to free them. It was unfortunately the governments were not so fair back then for the Jews. Well, the Nodab Yehuda, he was approached and the magic number was 300, whatever the currency was back then. Okay? And the Nodab Yehuda gave, he went to his office, he had money, he came back and you know how much he gave? 290. Okay? It's 90 plus %. Okay? He gave 290 out of the 300. Now, right away, everybody didn't understand it. Why in the world doesn't he give the whole 300? You have already 290. You gave so much money. To give 10 more is like nothing. Okay? And the Nodab Yehuda, Rav Landau said, based on our Mishnah, he said our Mishnah reminds us that not only do we have to give, but we have to allow other people to give as well. It would be unfair of me to give the entire 300. I would be taking away that zechut from other people. It was known, by the way, that Chafetz Chaim, he would do the same thing. When the Chafetz Chaim would go around collecting tzedakah for the yeshiva, people would sometimes pull out a very large check and they would give it to him. And the Chafetz Chaim looked at the check, he saw that the amount was what he needed, and he would return it to the man. He would say, I'm sorry, I cannot accept this check. And the guy says, wow, I understand, this is what you need for the yeshiva, what's the problem? And the Chafetz Chaim said, there are many poor people that can't afford to learn, and they can't afford to support the yeshiva, but they have $1, $2 every few months, and that's the only connection they have to the yeshiva. I cannot take away that zechut from those people. Everybody has to have a piece in the Torah, a piece attaching themselves to the Torah. If they can't learn, then at least they can support it. And therefore, he would decline a very large donation that would cover the entire budget of the yeshiva for the whole year. Everybody has to have a piece of the Torah. And he said that's the difference between the universities and the yeshivas. A lot of times you see the universities, they have such an easy time getting money. One person takes care of the whole bill for the whole year, the entire budget. Yeshivas, they need to get hundreds and thousands of people to combine just to make it to the end of the year. Very difficult. And the Chafetz Chaim said, because when it comes to Torah, everybody needs a piece. Hashem wants everyone to have a zechut. The university, doesn't matter. There's no zechut. So you could have one guy supporting the whole thing. But when it comes to Torah, yiten ve'yitnu, everyone has to give. Not to have just one person covering the budget of the entire organization. That would be taking away from the merits of other people. And by the way, this idea of supporting Torah, which is it's interesting that our Mishnah, which deals with the 4 types of donors, 4 types of notnei tzedakah, finds itself in between 2 Mishnayot that deal with Torah. The previous Mishnah we did yesterday, 4 types of Talmidim, students, to remember the Torah. And tomorrow's Mishnah, God willing, 4 types of people when it comes to going to learn. That's going to be an interesting one. Okay, but that's not today. And our Mishnah, 4 types of givers in between 2 Mishnayot that deal with Torah. Which is again, very important not only to give tzedakah, but to know what cause are we giving to. And of course the greatest, our primary cause of supporting any organization should always be connected some way, somehow to the Torah. And that is the concept, by the way, of Yisachar and Zevulun. Yisachar was a person who studied Torah. That was his item. All day, studying. His brother Zevulun was known for always, he had a parnasa, he had a business, he had a commerce. Zevulun and Issachar, they decided to make a partnership. Zevulun said, listen, I learn all day, you work all day. I don't have money, you don't have Torah. Let's be partners. And they did. And Zevulun would go out and work and support Issachar, and Issachar's part of Issachar's Torah, a spiritual paycheck, would go to Zevulun. That's what the pasuk says: Semach Zevulun betzetecha veYisachar beohalecha. Okay, be happy, Zevulun, on your way out, while Yisachar is in the tent. You are the reason Yisachar could stay studying Torah in the ohel, and therefore all the zechut of his Torah goes to your account. It's true with Yisachar and Zevulun. It's true with anybody that goes over to a Talmid Chacham or a Kolel and says, listen, I can't learn as much as I would like to, but I would be honored if you can sit and learn, and I want you to not worry about Parnasah, and I'm going to take care of your Parnasah. I'm going to take care of your expenses, and that allows the person in Kolel to sit and to learn. And many people do this, and they're happy to do it because they know now I can't learn, but at least I have this sachar of as if I'm learning. Okay, that is that is why our Mishnah is placed in between the other two. Okay, so that is the first type of guy. He wants to have a monopoly on giving. Very, very NG, no good. Okay, we should never feel like it's got to be me to solve the problems of the community. And if someone else is able to do it, we try to get our piece in the cake. We want to get involved. That's a person seeking attention. That's a person seeking honor. If you're the one that wants to be on the plaque, you want to have your name. It's not about your name. It's about having a shul, having a yeshiva, having a place to study, having a chesed organization. It's about them. It's about the community, about everyone else. And once we are interested in about us being the ones to do it and to get the credit and the check, and you heard this rabbi, what an amazing rabbi, what an amazing speaker, we are losing in our altruism. Okay, it's something that we all have to remind ourselves. Rabbis, businessmen, doesn't matter. We have to work on our leshem shamayim. We give and let others give. There is a very powerful line, and I would make this line the title of today's class, but it's too long. But it's one of the most powerful lines I ever heard. You ready? Write this down every single day. Take a look at it. There's no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. Isn't that amazing? There is no limit to the amount of good that you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. A lot of times in businesses or in any other type of workforce, the person feels like they want to get the credit. They need to be the ones to do it. They want the honor. And so it handicaps the company. It limits how much can be accomplished. If we are able to put aside our egos and to let other people do and let other people accomplish and let other people shine, there is no end to the amount of good that we can do. Okay? And again, that is something that I am very honored to experience personally. I work with Rabbi Farhi, who allows others to shine, and that is something that I heard about him before I took the job in the synagogue. That's something that I personally witness as I work now in the synagogue. He is not someone who is power hungry or looking for the kavod or looking for the credit. He allows other people to step up and to do and to accomplish. And you come to the city, you see the synagogue, and look at what's going on. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. There's no limit to what you can accomplish if you're willing to let other people take credit for it. Baruch Hashem. Okay, there is another way of understanding this line, and that is, again, Harotzeh sheyiten velo yitnu achirim. Somebody who wants to give but doesn't want others to give. Okay, meaning it's not enough to give. It's not enough to give. We have to be giving to the point that they can stand and be givers on their own. You know, it says in the first Mishnah of Pirkei Avot, the first teachings of the entire book that we're studying, that we took already a year and a half studying together, Baruch Hashem. The Anshe Knesset Gedolah, the members of the Great Assembly, they teach the following line. He'emidu talmidim harbe. Have many students. Okay? But it doesn't say have many students. It says he'emidu. Stand up many students. The way to measure a good teacher is not by how many students they have created, but by how many teachers they have created. A good leader is not one that has many followers, but one who has many other leaders that they've empowered. Yiten, if you're a giver, but you make the people that you give to always depend on you, and you never give them the ability to move on and to move forward, they're always going to be lo yitnu acherim. They'll never be able to give on their own. That's not a successful type of giving. The ideal giving is that you give so that they themselves one day will be able to give. Of course, this goes to the famous Rambam, who says that there are 8 levels of giving charity. The lowest level is that you give, you know who they are, and they know who you are. The best level of charity is what? Anyone know? Give it a few seconds. What's the highest form of charity? The highest form of charity is that you give the guy a job. Or you give them a loan so that they could go out and help themselves in their own job, in their own business, to try to open up something. So you're not giving them and you're making them dependent on you. You're giving them so that they can be self-dependent. Yeah? Beautiful. Number 2, yitnu acherim v'hu lo yitin. There is another guy that says, yes, tzedakah away. Everybody give. You heard? This is a very important organization. And they go out and they get everybody to give. That's very good. It's actually very hard to do. A lot of people, they would rather give, but don't ask me to collect. Don't ask me to solicit other people. It's very uncomfortable. How much you need? I'll give you everything you need. It's very uncomfortable to ask other people to give, even if it's not for yourself. A lot of times people come to me, they ask me for help, they ask me to reach out to other people, and I have to make these phone calls, and it's very uncomfortable. Now I'm not collecting for myself, I'm collecting for other people. But that is the second type of guy. Yitnu aherim. They ask everybody around them to give. However, hu lo yiten. This person themselves will never give. They're stingy. They're stingy on their own money. They lack. You know what they lack? They lack emunah. Because you believe in the organization. You believe in the cause. Why are you not supporting it? Why are you not yourself giving to it? The answer is because I got to save for a rainy day. Okay? Literally, I got to save sometimes. Things happen. And if it's tough times, I need extra cash in the bank. Now that's true. We got to be responsible. But to what point? How much do I need to save for a rainy day? To the point that I'm not giving at all tzedakah? I should have tens and hundreds of thousands saved up, and this guy has 0? That's not correct. And therefore, to give and to have other people, this second guy wants other people to give, but they themselves will not give. Okay, there's a very beautiful story told of Kalman Wysotsky. Ever heard of that last name, Wysotsky? Well, I'm sure you heard of it. He is a person that sold tea. Family business, very famous in the tea business. And their main customer was providing tea for the Russian army, for the military. He was once approached to open up a store in Israel. Wysotsky, the family, they said, Israel? Are you kidding me? The Turks, you know how hard they are to deal with? This was in the early 1900s. Who could deal with the Turkish? You can't deal with them. Besides, the best leaves are in India. To transport them to Israel is going to cost too much money. The price of tea is going to be too much. Who needs that? And they came back to him and they urged him, open up a store. Finally, he agreed. He sent one employer to go, an employee to go and to work in Israel, open up a shop. 1917, when the Tsar fell, the Russian army fell, their main customer in Russia fell. Wysotsky had no business, and he would have gone broke except for the fact that he had that one shop. He relocated to that store in Israel. He started an entire business from there, and Wysotsky tea is what it is today because of that one store. And therefore, even if we have something successful that's going, we should always remind ourselves to do a little bit for other people. We never know when the charity that we do, when the tzedakah that we give is going to actually one day come back and maybe save my life. Maybe save my own life. Okay? This is the second level. The third level is the best. He gives, he wants other people to give. The Gemara says that there's a famous rabbi, his name is Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. And the Gemara says, Rabbi haya mechabed et ha'ashirim. He used to honor wealthy people. But you know what that means? He used to honor the wealthy people? On a simple level, that means someone wealthy, he would stand up for them, he would honor them, he would give them a place to stay. But it's a little bit deeper than that. You ready? He would honor the wealthy people means he would instead, Rebbe himself, you should know, was very wealthy. On his table, he had all year long every type of vegetable. Even if it was off season. He paid enough money to be able to get it all the way from the right place. That's how wealthy Rebbe was. Haya mechabed ha'ashirim. But even though he could have supported the causes alone, he would give other rich people the chance to also, and the honor to also support those causes. He was never looking for all of the honor, going again back to the first guy that we spoke about. Okay? Also, this person, yiten ve'yitnu ahirim. That also can mean the following. You ready? Somebody who not only gives, but makes sure to set an example that other people should give. And this is something that we've spoken about in the past. It's not enough that we're giving. We have to make sure that we're giving in front of other people for them to give. There is somebody that I know, maybe some of you know them too. I can't say the name because they don't want me to say the name, and they would call me up right after this class if they heard it, and they would say, Rabbi, why did you say that? But this person was ready on a Shabbat to pay. You ready for this? They were having a fundraiser for this kidney organization called Renewal, AJ Gindi. And this person came over and says, Rabbi, I want to donate a kidney. Not his, but he said, I want to donate the price of a kidney transplant, $20,000. But all hush hush. And by the way, all the tzedakah this person gives is also like that. Always hush hush. It's a beautiful thing. And I said to this person, I said, listen, Joe, call him Joe. I said, listen, Joe, you should know, it's usually you give quietly and it's a nice thing. But there are a lot of people that are maybe sitting in the shul, and if they see you give a kidney, it would inspire them to give as well. Meaning, humility is nice, but not if it's at the expense of you being a positive role model. And I convinced this guy to give it out loud. And he did. He went up, he got the aliyah, he gave it. And sure enough, a few aliyot later, somebody else went up. Mishe Berach. And the man, he says, you know what? If Joe gave a kidney, put me down for a kidney as well. Isn't that amazing? And so this is the third guy who not only gives, but makes sure they are setting an example for yitnu ahirim, for other people to give as well. I give, and I want others to give. That is a very, very high level. And a fourth guy, of course, doesn't need to be spoken about. He doesn't want to give, and he doesn't want other people to give. Now, I have a question over here. Not my question, I have to be honest. Okay, I admit it's not mine. It's everybody's question. What is the title of today's class? If I ask you to fill in for a title for us, 4 types of what? Could you please just write in what you would guess? What would you title today's class? 4 types of... Well, the words in the Mishnah, Arba midot benotnei tzedakah. 4 types of givers. 4 types of donors. What's the obvious question? Right away, we should pick up on this. Does our Mishnah list 4 types of givers? Well, let's go one by one. The first guy, is he a giver? Yes, he gives. He doesn't want other people to give. Okay, so that's one type of giver. The second guy, is he a giver? No. He wants others to give. He himself doesn't give. How could you call that a giver? It's not 4 types of givers. The second guy doesn't give. The third guy, okay, that's great. Chassid, he gives and he wants others to give. That's good. The fourth guy also doesn't give. Not him and no one else should give. How could you call it 4 types of donors? The second and fourth are not givers. It should be 1 and 3. It should say there are 2 types of givers. So the simplest answer to this question, and this is the pshat, is that the correct way to translate our Mishnah today, even though maybe the title I won't title it like this, but the best way to translate our Mishnah is there are 4 types or 4 attitudes towards giving. Okay? Not 4 types of donors, but 4 attitudes towards giving. Okay, that's fair. So the first guy, the second, each one has an attitude. The second's attitude towards giving is not to give. That's his attitude, and that fits with the wording. Okay, there is another answer which actually we could appreciate today with taxes. If you don't give your taxes, you know what will happen? IRS is going to come down and they're going to take it out of you. There used to be the same similar concept with the Beit Din. When we had Beit Din, when the Jewish people were in control and in charge of their own finances, they weren't under the the regime of another type of government. If a person was lax in their tzedakah, Beit Din would come down and they would force the person to pay. And so the second guy and the fourth guy, they're not giving, but guess what? At the end, they're going to end up giving. Not willingly, but by force. So the second answer is they all end up giving at the end of the day, whether you want to or not. Okay? The third answer is beautiful. Okay? This answer is given, I forgot who. I don't know. I can't say. I forgot the name. But the answer was given by this rabbi through his own personal experience. And he would say many times he would go over to people and he would speak to them, asking them for a donation for the organization, for the cause. And there are many people that never plan on giving. But you know what they say? They say, yeah, put me down for 10,000. Put me down for 50,000. Someone called me the other day. They said, this guy out there, he told me I'm going to do what we're going to do. He sent me a few dollars. Are you kidding me? I stopped asking people because I thought I could rely on you. And then you end up coming with nothing. Some people, they talk so much and it ends up hurting. Why? Because not only don't they give, but the ones that went out collecting. Imagine, I'll give you an example, okay? Imagine you're collecting for an organization. So you go out, you start collecting, and your goal is to reach 100,000. You see somebody who's a faker, phony, and he says, you know what, put me down for 50,000. 50, wow, oh my gosh, wow, 50, Baruch Hashem. Then you find another guy, another faker, put me down 50,000. Oh my gosh, I'm done. Hadid, Baruch. And you go home, close shop. Now these 2 guys never end up paying. And you call and you follow up and you call and you follow up and they push you. And then you know what? You have to end up going back into your car, back into your wagon, go out and collect again. So sometimes when you go to somebody and they say, listen, I wish I could do, but I'm just not that guy. I'm not your giver, okay? I don't believe in your cause. You know what? Those guys are actually not so bad. Be open. Be honest. At least I know what I'm dealing with. I know what I have. I know what I don't have. Instead of the guy who ends up just lying and says, yeah, put me down. So you know what? The answer is, if you're a person that says, lo yitin, if you admit that you don't give, or if you're the fourth guy, that you don't want anyone to give, and you yourself, you don't give, but at least you admit that you don't give, in a way, that's your donation. Thank you very much for not wasting my time. Thank you very much for not letting me rely on you. Hazaku Baruch. Maybe the person could write it off. Who knows? Tax receipt, I could have lied, but I didn't. So now give me a receipt for the extra money that you would have to pay on the plane to come, right? Who knows? Maybe. Speak to a good accountant. So this is the third answer, that actually the fact that the guy is honest is his donation. Beautiful. And our fourth answer for today is that it's a very powerful answer. The fourth answer is this person The second, let's go one by one, okay? The second guy, what's his philosophy? I don't give, but I want other people to give. Where our question is, how can that guy be a giver? How can you call him a giver? How can you call him a noten tzedakah? And you know what the answer is? The commentaries say that actually it's possible that this guy does give, but he wants others to give first. If you look closely at the verbiage, yitnu aherim, let others give, vehu lo yiten, and he won't give. Meaning, he's not saying I'm not going to give, but he's saying first let others give, and then come to me at the end. Whenever there's a gap, I'll fill it in. You know who made this mistake, by the way? I know some of you are going to answer this correctly. Give it a few seconds. There is someone in the Torah that said this. They said, you know what? They were approached for a donation, and they said, okay, let the others give, and then whatever's the delta, I'll fill in. This was a mistake of the Nesi'im, the princes in the desert. When they were collecting for the Mishkan, the princes were the wealthiest, but you know what they said? They said, listen, let everyone else have a chance. Let everyone else give. Whatever's missing, we'll give in. However much. Now, at first glance, you may say, wow, what a tzaddik. What a good guy. The fact that you're willing to pay whatever is missing from the entire budget. If you need 100,000 and all we got was 10, you're willing to fill in the 90? He says, yes, 100%, I'll fill in the 90. Call me. Text me, you got it. I'm your guy. But just go out, try to collect whatever you can, and I'll do the rest. This person is making a big mistake. They are making the mistake of thinking that they are doing tzedakah a favor. Whatever you're missing, come to me and I'll fill it in. You're not doing tzedakah a favor. A person that really understood what tzedakah was realizes when they give, they're actually guaranteeing for themselves future payment, a future form of parnasah, a future form of receiving money. The Torah doesn't need my money. I want a zechut because I know that if I'm giving, I'm connecting myself to the source of life, to the source of blessing, to the source of beracha. And therefore, this was the mistake of the Nesi'im. They said, let everyone else give and then I'll give whatever's missing. And what happened at the end? You know what happened? There was nothing left to give. Everybody gave. And the Nesi'im learned their mistake. They ended up, when it came to the inauguration day, they were the first ones there. We're going to give first. Last time we said we'll give at the end, and there was nothing left for us to give. Even though they gave the stones of the breastplate. But they learned a lesson the hard way. And therefore, this second guy, he wants other people to give, but he doesn't. But he himself is ready to give only after others have done their part. And his mistake is that if you really understood what tzedakah was, then you wouldn't wait for that. Because who said that you'll ever get a chance to give? What if they make it all in one day, and then you're left with nothing, and then you never have that connection to the Torah, and then it's your loss. The fourth guy, what about him? And we'll end with this. The fourth guy doesn't give, doesn't want others to give. And you know what that means? It means he does give, but he gives it begrudgingly. He has always sour-faced, and he doesn't want others to give either. And he tries to talk them out of it. All right, this is what we have to do. I guess if this is what we have to do, this is what we have to do. And he always he reveals his intent that he believes that this is an undeserving cause, and he now removes the excitement from other people to give as well. And this is again a very powerful lesson that it's not only important in life if we give, but also how we give. How we give is very important. Okay? And this fourth guy, he gives. So we could call him a noten tzedakah. We could call him somebody who gives. But he doesn't give the right way. And he removes all inspiration, all enthusiasm, all excitement. Of course, there's plenty more to say over here. But I believe we have enough on our plates for today. We'll stop over here. 4 types of donors, 4 types of givers. And God willing, we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.